What's good? I'm that gamer boy Chaos, and today I want to talk about when I was in 4th grade. Now, why do I want to talk about when I was in 4th grade? I have no idea. I couldn't even begin to tell you. But all I know is that it was just on my mind for some reason, and I was just thinking about it. I'm like, there was so much crazy shit that happened that school year. Like, it was absolutely crazy. Like, a lot happened that year. You know, in the beginning of the year, everything is cool, everything is fine, nothing crazy happened yet, the teacher not bugging yet. She would be bugging at times, but for the most part, the teacher was cool. So, the first incident that happened in the school year, I believe, so pretty much, during lunch, me and my friend, we were talking, and he brought money with him so he can buy a snack. And so, after he got his snack, for some reason, like, he was like flexing that he brought money and he got a snack and I didn't, pretty much. I'm like, oh, okay, so you wanna play like that? So what I did was I went to where you get the food and shit. I was pretending that that I was like trying to get like a napkin or some shit. And so I told someone who was in line that I was like, oh, can you pass me that napkin right there or like a fork or some shit, whatever the fuck it was. And I saw the Rice Krispie treats and I took one of the Rice Krispie treats and I just left out, and that person was like, oh. And I don't know how I got away with that shit, because the lady that was fucking like checking people out like with their lunch and shit, she was literally right there. And like, yeah, she was like looking at the computer and shit, but like, I don't understand how I got away with that. Like, it was so crazy. And so I went back to the table. I'm like, oh, so we both got snacks, so what's good? Like, I don't even know what I said, but like, I don't even know why. Like it was a little tension between us, like, at that moment for some reason. And yeah, it was so fucking stupid. But the crazy thing is, like, I don't know if that lady did see me when I took the Rice Krispie treat, but pretty much what happened was when we got back to class after lunch, our teacher, she like pulled us over to the side, and I guess she like caught wind of like our slight little, it wasn't a rivalry because we were friends, but I guess she caught wind of like the little situation or whatever. And so she's like,
did anything go down during lunch?
I'm like, oh no, everything was fine. Like, we was just played that shit off perfectly. And yeah, that was the first incident of the year. I genuinely do not know how I got away with that. That shit was crazy. Now, the second incident happened with an assignment. And this assignment in particular, I had to redo because the first time I did it, I messed up. And my teacher wanted me to redo it so I can get like full credit or something. And at that point, I was just like, nah, fuck out of here. I'm not doing this shit. Like, can we just move on? Like, goddamn. And so it got so bad to the point where I was the only one who did not hand that shit in. And like, I was just postponing that shit for the longest. And pretty much what this assignment was a Veterans Day assignment. And pretty much what you had to do was do research on someone who served in the military. And when I did it the first time, I just searched up on Google like people who served in the military, and I selected a random person. Now, the person in particular that I selected was George Carlin. Now, rest in peace to him, but he was a terrible choice for this assignment, because had I actually did my research and read up on him, I would have known that he got kicked out of the fucking military because like, I guess he was like telling jokes and like it wasn't acceptable, and so like he became a comedian, and so like he wasn't really, I don't really think he was like known for like his military shit. He was mainly known for the comedian side of him, and I didn't know that, so I fucking followed through with the entire assignment. Like, it wasn't like a big assignment or whatever, but like I followed through with the entire assignment, and my fucking teacher, like, she did research on him, and like she was like,
yeah, like, you have to redo this because it doesn't really, like, the internet doesn't really say good things about him in terms of like the military
or whatever she said. So I was like, god damn, like, what the fuck. And so yeah, I was just fucking prolonging that shit, just hoping that we could move on and I don't have to do this shit. Like, I get the failing grade for the assignment, bada boom, let's move on. But I couldn't. And so, you know, I asked my mom for help and shit. And so apparently there were some people in my family who did serve in the military. And so once I actually asked for help, it was a lot easier. But yeah, that shit was crazy right there. Now, this part of the commentary is like the climax type shit, in my opinion. So I like to call this little segment the winter hell, because during this time, so much bullshit was going on. Like, I was just going through it around this time. So it was after winter break, you know, everything was going fine until like we started getting homework and shit. And you know, I think for the most part, like I was doing my homework, but there were a lot of moments during this time where I would either forget to do my homework or I couldn't do my homework because I would forget one of my books in my desk or something, like a science textbook or the social studies textbook, and I couldn't do my homework. So if I'm not mistaken, now bear with me because this was 9 years ago and the memory's a little fuzzy, but if I remember correctly, my teacher will call my mom and tell her I didn't do my homework, and then when my mom picks me up later, she's gonna be mad at me. She's gonna be asking me why I didn't do my homework and why I didn't hand it in and whatnot, and I'd be like, well, I forgot my book, like, yeah. That happened a lot during that time. But one incident that I remember like it was yesterday, like I remember this shit so motherfucking fondly that it's not even funny because it was some actual bullshit. Like when you hear about this shit, you're gonna understand me fully when I say this is some bullshit. So usually in the morning there would be a line at the teacher's desk to hand in your homework, and so this day in particular, like the line was kind of long, and so I wanted to wait a little bit. And so I sat back down at my desk and I got distracted with something. I think I was either doing something or I was talking to someone. So eventually I don't realize that everyone done fucking handed in their homework. So I'm the only one who didn't hand in my homework. And you know, the teacher's about to start teaching and she notices that I didn't hand in my homework. So she's assuming that I didn't do my homework, and I actually did do my homework. It's just that I got distracted and I didn't get the chance to fucking hand it in. And so I told her that, and she was like, oh,
well, you should have handed it in when everyone else was handing in their homework.
And she fucking made me switch seats with someone else for absolutely no reason. Well, actually, I guess I know the reason, because this was like a reoccurring event where like I wasn't handing in my homework or whatever, and yeah, so she fucking thought that it was a good idea to fucking switch my seat with someone else, all because of that. And to be honest, the way that everyone was sitting, she specifically set it up that way. Like I'm gonna put up a diagram of like the layout of all the desks and shit, but we were pretty much sat in alphabetical order. So someone whose last name started with the letter A, I was replaced with him. So it was just like, yo, this shit don't make no fucking sense. Like, all because I didn't hand in my homework? Like, what does that have to do with me not handing in my homework? Like, that shit still does not make sense to me to this day. Like, that was so fucking annoying. And to make matters worse, later that day, the person I had to switch seats with came up to me talking about something, oh, and we better switch seats soon because I don't know what he said, but pretty much all I remember him saying was, we better switch seats soon. And like, bitch, that's not up to me. Like, what the fuck? Like, why are you mad at me because the teacher made a fucking dumb decision? I'm telling you, that shit was winter hell. That shit is gonna stay in my mind for life. Now, when things start to calm down a little bit, we're still in winter, but things were a lot more chill. I wasn't going through no bullshit that much, I think. But there was this one kid in my class, and to say the least, he was a fucking nuisance. Literally a fucking nuisance, because the way he was acting and the way that he was talking is just like, yo, I want to go upside your head right here, right now, and I don't give a fuck. But one day he came to school with some hand warmers, and if you don't know what hand warmers are, I'll put up a picture of exactly the same hand warmers he had, and pretty much like he was flexing that he had them, and like I don't know why, but like he just wouldn't shut up about them. And this is before class started, so like we just waiting outside the classroom and waiting for our teacher to like come through and tell us to go into class. And so like he's just going on, and so in my mind I'm just like, I don't give a fuck about your damn hand warmers, bitch, like shut up. So the day went by normally for the most part. I don't think anything crazy happened. I think that kid, like during lunch or recess, he flexed that he had the hand warmers again for some reason, and I'm not entirely too sure if he did that or if I'm not remembering shit correctly, but if he did, that's probably why I did what I did later that day. So towards the end of the day, we were doing some assignment and we had a partner. So I was sitting at his desk and I was working with this girl, and I don't know what the fuck crossed my mind, but I was just like, you know what, since you keep flexing these motherfucking hand warmers, I'm about to pop one of them shits. So in the picture, if you look closely, they have like this little coin inside of them, and it like some fucking chemical reaction that causes it to be warm and shit, and if that gets damaged, the shit obviously doesn't work. So I popped one of them. Like, I popped the red one, and I made it look like it got crushed underneath, like, his big-ass science textbook, and I broke the coin in the blue one. So, like, when I broke the coin in the blue one, it looked kind of cool. It kind of, like, froze up a little bit. Well, I don't really know. Like, it was, like, kind of hot, and, like, it it looked like it froze up. So I pretended like I didn't know what happened, and like I was just minding my business. And the fucking girl that I was working with, like like she was cool as fuck. I miss her, honestly. Like she like she was doing what we were supposed to be doing. And like I'm over here just like slowly trying to open his desktop and be low-key about it while I'm fucking damaging his property. so like she's just looking at me like I'm over here trying to like focus on breaking the fucking hand warmers and doing what we're supposed to be doing at the same time. And so like it was just like kind of awkward. Like we were both quiet as shit, and like it was crazy. So after we were finished with the assignment and we were about to get ready to leave, he opens his desk and realized that his hand warmers are fucked up. And so and that's another thing, like I just realized he had his shits in the fucking desk. Like this nigga was flexing that shit hard as fuck for no reason at all. Like he could have, like we had cubbies back then, like he could have put them shits in his fucking coat pocket or something in his cubby. Like he just wanted to flex some shits all throughout the day for no reason. And so he noticed that they're fucked up, and so he calls the teacher over. And so since I was sitting at the desk, she calls me over and like asked me if I know what happened. I'm like, no, I don't know what happened. And so like since I was smart about shit, so like I put them underneath the big ass textbook, science textbook, to make it look like it got damaged that way. And so like that's what they assumed, and yeah, I got off scot-free with that shit. And I can't, that's another thing I can't believe that I fucking got away with, because like honestly he deserved it. He was being a fucking dickhead that day. And speaking of dickheads, we're on to sometime in the spring, I believe. So we were working on this project and we had like a group of 4 or 5. And so I don't remember what it was, but pretty much I think we had to like read something and like talk about it or some shit. And so there was this girl who was in my group who had went to the bathroom. And so when she came back, I was catching her up on what she missed out on. But she was friends with some of the girls in our group and they told her about what she missed out on. And so I didn't know that. So while I was talking to her, she was writing something on a fucking post-it note. And she gives the shit to me and I read it, and that shit said,
I already know what to do, plus I don't like you.
I'm like, what the fuck? That was so uncalled for. So my friend who was also in my group, he told me to go tell the teacher about that. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't need to tell the teacher. Like shit, she could be rude all she want. I ain't worried about her ass. Like shit, I was just trying to be nice and tell her, like catch her up on some shit. I didn't know that she was already told about this shit. But it's actually good that I didn't tell the teacher, because like she would have just got in trouble, and you know what happened later is a lot better than her just getting in trouble, like if I had told on her, that is. So what happened was I think she didn't do an assignment or some shit, and so the teacher asked her why she didn't do it, and I don't know why the teacher did this shit, but before she could even say anything, she's like,
I don't want to hear a song and a dance.
I thought that shit was so fucking funny because she didn't even get the chance to explain. But you know, it serves her right, because she was rude as shit for no fucking reason, talking about some plus I don't like you. Like damn, bitch, like you could, like, bitch, first of all, use your motherfucking words. That's number one. Like you could have said that, oh, I was already told about what was going on, like I already know what to do. Like she didn't need to do all that shit. Last but not least, the last incident, I believe this shit took place somewhere like late spring or early summer type shit. So pretty much there are these little assignments that the teacher assigned, and honestly, I don't even remember what the fuck they were. I couldn't even tell you what they were, how I was supposed to do it, or what. But all I know is that they were due, and pretty much like if you didn't do it, the teacher wrote your name on the board and she didn't erase it until you completed the assignment. This one day it was like something with like fitness or some shit. It was like, I don't know if it was like fitness day or whatever the fuck, but pretty much the majority of the class was like working on something to like hang outside the room. It was like a cutout of like a person running, and so she was helping them with that. And so me and my friend, this same friend who I was talking about in the last incident and the first incident, so we was just standing around talking, and so we was looking at our names on the board. I'm like, yo, do you think she would notice if we if we removed our name from this shit? And he was like, I don't know. And so like we was just looking at the teacher, then looking back at the board and like seeing like, oh shit, like it's like, I don't know, she probably gonna notice. It's been there for a hot minute. And so I was just like, fuck it. And so I erased my name and he followed suit, and she never fucking noticed. She never fucking noticed. Like, I don't understand some of the shit that I was getting away with in 4th grade. I don't understand how I did that shit. Like, with the fucking snack shit, I don't know how I got away with that. With the breaking that nigga's hand warmers, I don't know how I got away with that. And I don't know how I got away with erasing my name off this board, and it's been there for weeks. Like, oh my god, that shit was too fucking funny. But yeah, like I said in the beginning, 4th grade was fucking crazy. I don't know why this shit was on my mind, but it just was. And this is a long ass commentary. This might be my longest commentary ever. Yeah, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, leave some comments, subscribe, hit the bell notification shit, do all that good shit. And I'll see you next time.